Welcome to Peru, the third largest country in South America. Peru is divided into 3 sections. The narrow coastal deserts, the Andes Mountains, which run the length of the entire country, and the Amazon rainforest. Spanish is the most common language spoken in Peru, followed by Quechua, one of the native languages in Peru, originally spoken by the Incas, as well as by many people who live in the Andes today. Hola! That is how you say hello in Spanish. Or in Quechua, Napay, Yuya Iki. What a mouthful. Most people in Peru live in crowded cities like Lima, the capital. They dress much like you and I, in jeans, t-shirts, and tennis shoes. They have businesses, restaurants, and factories, which provide jobs for the people who live there. It is a very poor country, however, with about 50% of its people living below the poverty line. In fact, half of Peru's children are malnourished. People live in small houses or apartments, most of which are a single story, because of the many earthquakes which plagued their country. The poorest people in the cities set up shanty towns with makeshift homes out of plywood, cardboard boxes, and corrugated metal. They have no running water, proper sanitation, or electricity, and crime is high. The Andes are the second highest mountain range in the world. It is mostly natives that live here. Most work as farmers. They grow sugarcane, corn, coffee, and potatoes. Some raise animals, such as llamas and alpacas. Donkeys and llamas carry supplies to the highlands because the pathways are too narrow for cars. The villages are very remote, so most people do not have access to electricity and running water. Their homes are made of mud brick. People in the highlands dress more traditionally. Their clothing consists of very colorful, hand-woven designs. Because of the cold temperatures, the people must layer their clothing. The women wear wool sweaters and many layers of skirts. They can wear up to 15 skirts at a time. The style of hat reflects the village where they came from. The men wear sombreros or chulos, which are wool hats with ear flaps. They traditionally wore ponchos, but nowadays, those are mostly reserved for weddings and festivals. Both men and women wear hojotas, which are sandals made of recycled tires. The jungle, or selva, covers 60% of the land. It is covered by dense vegetation that cannot be accessed by buses or cars. People who live here build their homes on stilts or rafts to keep their homes from flooding when the water rises. The Yuros people live on Lake Titicaca. They have actually built the islands they live on out of layers of reeds. They are soft and spongy to walk on. When the bottom layer disintegrates into the lake, they just keep adding layers on top. Did you know that Peru was the first country to cultivate potatoes? There are about 4,000 varieties. Machu Picchu is Peru's most famous landmark. It was built about 500 years ago on a steep mountain in the Andes. It is believed that it was a vacation home for royalty. They would come to relax, entertain, hunt, and perform religious ceremonies. It is a mystery how such fine workmanship could be possible so high up in the mountains before modern day technology. This is Juanita the Ice Maiden. She was an Incan girl found in the ice by explorers. She died about 500 years ago. Her hair and clothing were still intact when they found her in the ice. These are the Nazca lines. They're strange drawings in the ground that date back 2,000 years ago. They're so huge that they can only be seen from an airplane. No one knows how or why these strange drawings could have been made long before planes were invented. There are also the Nazca holes, spiral holes in the middle of the Peruvian desert. Scientists believe they may have been a way of irrigating the dry land so that it could become more fertile for growing crops. Peruvian people like to have fun just like we do. They love soccer, which they call football, and also surfing and bullfighting. They love music and dancing, which they incorporate into their many festivals. This instrument is called a zamponia, or a pan flute. It can be heard in traditional Peruvian music. I'm so glad you could join us on our journey for Peru. Adios. Kaya Kalma. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. This video is brought to you by Caitlin, age 4, Jack, age 7, and Sean, age 2.